Think about it not that long ago. Certain bedroom topics were strictly behind closed doors, maybe a giggle between close friends, but definitely not something you'd hear discussed openly.
Right. It's kind of wild how much things have shifted.
Fast forward to today, and, well, let's just say the erotic has gone mainstream. And right in the thick of that fascinating evolution is oral sex, a truly fantastic form of intimacy that we're going to dive deep into today.
And what's fascinating right off the bat, something our source material really highlights, is that this isn't some modern fad. We're talking Marisa Bennett's 50 Shades of Oral Pleasure here.
Right, that's our guide for this.
And she points out, evidence from ancient history of Pompeii, accounts from ancient China. This has always been part of human connection, sexual expression. It's not new.
Exactly. And that's kind of our mission for this deep dive, tailored just for you, the listener.
Yeah.
We're taking Bennett's book and really digging into the heart of oral pleasure.
Yeah, forget just surface level tips.
We're talking the foundational stuff, the anatomy involved for both partners. Because understanding the body is it's key. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. You can't really master something without knowing how it works, right?
And we'll also navigate the world of grooming, since that's definitely something people think about or, might be curious about.
Which brings up an interesting point the book makes about personal choices. It really emphasizes that grooming is, and I quote here, a style choice, not a health decision.
That's such an important perspective.
It really is. It frames it as being about what makes you and your partner feel good, not some external pressure or standard.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we're going to get into the real meat of the matter, the huge range of oral sex techniques.
Yeah, the how-to.
We're talking practical, actionable advice on how to truly ignite pleasure with your mouth. Plus, we'll explore some more adventurous positions because, let's be honest, why stick to the same old routine?
Well, exactly. If we look at the bigger picture of intimacy, that element of exploration and variety is just so vital. It's easy for things to become routine, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And the book provides this fantastic toolkit of ideas, really, to keep things exciting and help you discover new avenues of pleasure together.
And hold on, there's more. Our source even delves into some kinky additions. Think toys, playful
A
elements.
little spice.
Yeah. And it even touches on some surprising nutritional tips that can contribute to overall sexual health. So, listener, buckle up. This is going to be a comprehensive, hopefully eye-opening, and maybe even a little fun exploration into making oral sex a truly fantastic part of your intimate life.
Okay, where should we start?
Let's kick things off by focusing on pleasuring her orally.
Okay. And what's immediately striking, something the book highlights right at the start of this section, is the statistic. Only about 25% of women regularly experience orgasm through penetration alone.
25%, that's low. That's
Yeah.
low.
It's a pretty significant number, yeah. And it really positions oral sex, or cunnilingus as the book terms it, as a highly effective and often more direct route to female orgasm.
So the chances go way up with oral.
Considerably, yes. When the focus is on her pleasure in this way, the book also points out the intimate nature of the act, noting that you're being face-to-face with a part of her very few people get to be intimately acquainted with. There's a vulnerability there.
That's a really nice way to put it. Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the anatomy. Our source is super clear on this. We need to move beyond just saying vagina.
Right. That's a common misconception.
Technically, that term refers specifically to the opening, the canal. What we're really talking about when we discuss external female anatomy is the vulva, the whole package.
The external bits.
The book uses this really helpful analogy describing the vagina as just the sheath and emphasizes that to truly please the woman orally, quote, you don't need to go deeper, you want to spread out.
Spread out, not dig in. Gotcha.
And it makes a crucial point right away. Vulvas are incredibly diverse. Each one is unique, like snowflakes, the book says.
That emphasis on uniqueness is so important, isn't it, for normalizing the wide range of appearances. It combats a lot of insecurity.
Totally.
So the book then goes into detail about the key components. Let's start with the labia majora, or what the book playfully calls the outer pussy lips.
Okay.
It's interesting. It draws a parallel to the scrotum in terms of their developmental origins, but it also highlights that many women find pleasure in having them stroked, massaged, kissed. They're not necessarily off limits.
Right, they can be part of the warm-up or even more.
Exactly. Then we have the labia minora, the inner pussy lips. The book calls them nymphae sometimes.
Nymphae. Sounds kind of poetic.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It emphasizes their delicate nature. These are described as being softer and generally more sensitive than the outer lips, and they can vary quite a bit in size and color.
And they change with arousal too, right?
They do, yeah. They can become larger, more flushed, sort of engorged. And here's a little technique gem from the book. Gently tracing a line with your finger or tongue from the vaginal opening upwards,
Yeah.
staying between the labia minora, right up to just below the clitoris. It's described as a teasing kind of movement that can really build anticipation.
Ooh, I like that. It's subtle. What stands out to you about that technique?
I think it really underscores the idea of building sensation gradually, like you said. It's not about rushing straight for the main event, so to speak.
Yeah, it's about the journey, exploring the different levels of sensitivity, watching her reactions.
Precisely. And that natural leads us to the clitoris, often called the love button.
The famous clitoris.
Famous indeed. And the book rightly emphasizes it's this concentrated mass of about 8,000 nerve endings.
8,000. That's a lot. Significantly more than the penis, right?
Way more. And it's really crucial to understand, as the book points out, that the visible part, the glans clitoris, is just the very tip of a much larger network of erectile tissue. Ah, okay. So there's more going on underneath.
A lot more. Which explains why direct, intense stimulation right off the bat can often be, well, overwhelming or even uncomfortable for some women.
Yes. Our source puts it perfectly. I love this quote. You don't have to go leaping straight for the clitoris like a bull at a gate.
Great imagery, but true.
It really stresses, starting with more indirect stimulation. Think like gentle licking, maybe fondling the inner lips, the clitoral hood itself, maybe even some very gentle pulling on the hood.
Building up to it.
Exactly. And here's a really important takeaway from the book. Once she gives you any indication, verbal or physical, that you've found something she likes.
Stick with it.
Yes. Consistency can be incredibly rewarding. Don't suddenly change what's working.
Good advice. Then there's the vagina itself. The book acknowledges its, amazing flexibility and versatility.
Sure.
But it makes an important distinction. It doesn't have the same density of supersensitive nerve endings as the clitoris.
Okay, so focusing only inside might miss the mark. Often, yes. This is where the book gives a gentle caution against focusing solely on what it playfully calls tongue fucking.
Right. It might feel good, but it's not usually the direct path to orgasm for most.
Correct. It suggests that adding finger play inside the vagina, while you're also stimulating the more sensitive external areas, like the clitoris and labia, can lead to much more comprehensive and satisfying pleasure.
Makes sense. Combining sensations.
And finally, we have the G-spot. The book acknowledges the ongoing discussion, even debate, around its exact nature and existence.
Yeah, it's a bit controversial, isn't it?
It can be, but it describes its general location. Front wall of the vagina, roughly 2 inches inside. Some women report a slightly rougher texture there.
Rougher texture, okay.
And the book even mentions the come-hither wiggle technique, a specific type of pressure and movement with the fingers that some find pleasurable. But the crucial insight here is that the G-spot isn't some universal magic bullet for orgasm.
Right. It's more like an added dimension of potential pleasure for some individuals, not everyone.
Exactly. An extra tool in the toolbox, maybe.
Okay, so anatomy covered. That's a really helpful breakdown. Let's move on to a topic that definitely comes up. Grooming. What guidance does the book offer regarding hair removal for her?
Well, the absolute primary message, and it repeats this, is that it's a style choice, not a health decision.
By choice. Okay.
So if you or your partner prefer a natural look, that's absolutely fine. There's no medical reason or inherent advantage to removing hair. It's purely aesthetic preference.
Good to know. But for those who do choose to groom?
The book outlines a few common options. Just a trim is straightforward, using scissors or an electric trimmer to tidy up the area, manage the length, keep things neat.
Simple enough.
Shaving is obviously a widely used method, and the book offers some helpful tips to minimize the risk of, razor burn and irritation.
Oh, yeah, nobody wants that. What were some of those key shaving tips?
Let's see. Making sure the area is thoroughly wet beforehand, using a good quality shaving cream or gel. The book actually recommends a bikini-specific formula, if possible. Using a sharp, clean razor, dull razors are a big cause of irritation, and then following up with a soothing, fragrance-free lotion or balm to moisturize the skin afterwards.
Those sound like solid, practical tips. Good basics. What other grooming approaches does the book discuss?
Waxing is another option. It touches on both at-home kits and the salon experience.
Waxing. Ouch.
Or not necessarily.
Well, it acknowledges that the idea of applying hot wax down there might sound intimidating, but it details the different types of home waxing products, like the pre-applied strips or the kind you melt and apply with a stick.
Right.
However, it does seem to lean towards the often more positive experience of going to a professional salon.
Why is that?
Expertise of the technician, usually faster and more efficient, and often better, longer-lasting results because they can get the technique just right. Less chance of messing it up yourself, I guess.
Makes sense. Pay for the expertise.
And then, for something a bit more creative, the book mentions dyeing it, the Betty.
Dyeing your cubic hair. Yep. Using dyes specifically formulated for that area, it talks about options for natural-looking changes or even fun, vibrant colors. Pinks, blues.
Wow, okay. Personal expression.
Totally. The book even suggests incorporating creative trimming into designs, like little shapes or patterns, artistic flair down there.
That's certainly a way to express individuality. Okay, now let's dive into the techniques themselves. The oral sex techniques to turn her on. This is probably what a lot of listeners are waiting for.
Absolutely. And the single most important piece of advice, the book stresses this repeatedly, is to read your partner.
Pay attention.
Pay close attention to all the cues she's giving you, verbal feedback, yeah, but also physical movements, changes in breathing, facial expressions, little sounds.
Be present.
Exactly. But beyond that foundational principle, the book offers some specific techniques to try. Say the ABCs is presented as a fun, kind of explorative starting point.
The ABCs, how does that work?
Using your tongue to gently trace the letters of the alphabet on her vulva. The idea is to get a sense of what kinds of movements and pressure she enjoys without having to directly ask, do you like this or this in the moment?
That's actually really clever. A playful way to gauge preferences. What else? Which involves incorporating soft humming sounds while you're performing oral sex.
Humming. Why? The gentle vibrations created by humming, apparently, combined with the sort of primal nature of the sound, can be surprisingly arousing for some. Adds another sensory layer.
Huh. Interesting. Never thought of that.
Then there's pants off, dance off, which is more of a fun foreplay suggestion. Engaging in sensual fondling outside of clothing until the anticipation really builds and she's eager for more direct contact.
Building the tension. Nice.
And now kiss is a lovely reminder to incorporate romantic kissing and intimate connection into the act of cunnilingus. Don't just focus down there, connect face to face too.
I really like that one. It integrates the emotional intimacy with the physical.
Me too. Then we move into specific techniques focused on clitoral stimulation under the heading on the button.
Okay, zooming in.
Right. There's swirl it, using your tongue to draw circles around the clitoris, varying the pressure, the direction of the circles, see what feels best.
Circling around it. Got it.
Bop it involves gently sucking and then briefly releasing the clitoris with your tongue, maybe from different angles, like little pops.
Gentle sucking and releasing. Okay.
Suck it suggests gentle, sustained sucking. The book describes it almost like a mini blowjob specifically for the clitoris.
Okay. More continuous suction.
And lick it emphasizes slow, deliberate tracing movements with your tongue, moving up to and over the clitoris, really focusing on the sensation of licking rather than rapid, potentially irritating flicking.
That distinction between licking and flicking seems really important. There's this common idea that faster is always better, right?
Exactly. And the book pushes back on that. It advocates for a more nuanced, varied approach. Sometimes slow and deliberate is much more intense.
Absolutely. And it goes on to hands and mouth, which, well, the name kind of gives it away.
Combining the two.
Right. Combining oral stimulation with finger play inside the vagina. The book emphasizes small, intentional movements with the fingers maybe pushing gently against the inner walls or exploring that G-spot area we talked about.
While your mouth is focused on the clitoris and surrounding areas, multitasking for pleasure.
Exactly. And finally, there's steady hand. This technique suggests using stronger, more consistent strokes, maybe incorporating more of your hand to indirectly stimulate the clitoris.
When would that be useful?
Maybe if she's indicated she prefers a firmer touch, or perhaps if she's feeling a bit sensitive to direct licking at that moment, but still wants that clitoral focus. Using the hand provides pressure through the surrounding tissue.
Okay, options for different preferences and sensitivities. Now, what about taking things to another level? The kink for her section. What kinds of toys and playful additions does the book suggest?
Yeah, it frames it as introducing toys can really add an extra layer of fun and excitement. Not necessarily kink in the extreme sense, but adding new sensations.
Right, enhancing the experience.
First up is the classic dildo. It can be used for internal penetration, obviously, or even just held against her body to provide additional vibration or pressure points while you're performing oral sex.
Versatile.
Then there's the tongue vibrator,
Oh.
a small vibrator that straps onto the tongue, though the book wisely offers a more realistic alternative,
Which is?
just using a standard finger vibrator while you're going down on her. Probably easier to manage.
Yeah, that does seem more practical in the heat of the moment.
Then you have the standard wand vibrator, powerful, can be used externally, mainly, but also internally sometimes. Remote-activated vibrators are mentioned.
Ah, the ones you can control from across the room.
Exactly. Opens up possibilities for playful scenarios, like quiz games where right answers get a buzz, or vibes sync to music. G-spot vibrators, specifically shaped to target that area. The book also mentions anal toys, but includes a very important reminder about hygiene.
Super important. Cross-contamination is a real risk.
Definitely. It suggests using female condoms for safer anal play if switching between areas. The butt plug is another suggestion, again, emphasizing lots of lubrication.
Lube is your friend.
Always. And it notes that the sensation from a butt plug can be intensified when combined with clitoral and vaginal stimulation simultaneously. Creates pressure from multiple points.
Interesting synergy.
And for something a bit different and playful, there's edible body paint, like chocolate or fruit flavored, a fun, interactive way to explore, and kissable body powder as maybe a more elegant, sensual alternative. Adds shimmer and taste.
Lots of creative ideas there. The book also has a section titled Good Vibes. What's the main message there regarding vibrators in general?
It gives a really basic explanation of how they work the internal motor and the offset weight that create the oscillations, the vibrations.
The science bit.
Yeah, the quick science bit. It also touches briefly on their somewhat surprising historical use by Victorian-era doctors for treating hysteria.
Oh, right. The pelvic massage euphemism.
Exactly that. And then it highlights how far they've come, their increased accessibility and mainstream acceptance today. The key takeaway is they're no longer seen as just, smutty sex toys hidden in a drawer.
For wellness tools, almost.
Right. Incredibly valuable tools for self-discovery, for achieving orgasm, either alone or definitely with a partner. Very normalized now.
Good to see. Finally, for her, let's talk about the out of this world, her positions. What are some of the more creative positions the book suggests for cunnilingus?
Okay, we have the royal dinner, where she lies comfortably on her back, maybe pillows under her hips, allowing you full, easy access. Good for G-spot focus, too.
The classic comfortable option.
Then she's on top, giving her control as she straddles your face. She dictates the pressure and movement.
Empowering for her.
Three-ring cunnilingus is just using an exercise ball for balance at a different angle. Or simply having her seated on the edge of a bed or chair while you kneel.
Exercise ball again. Getting creative.
Yeah. Standing ovation is noted as a great option for shower sex, with her leaning against the wet wall.
Makes sense for the shower.
Hula girl has her standing and straddling your face while you recline. And for the more adventurous, there's the no handstand.
Wait, a handstand?
Or a modified, safer version using an ottoman for support. The book playfully suggests doing it in reps.
Huh. Okay, maybe work up to that one. That's quite a comprehensive exploration of pleasuring her orally. Now, let's switch gears and turn our attention to pleasing him. The book starts by directly challenging a pretty common assumption, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It practically shouts, false, wrong. For the love of God, just stop at the idea that all men universally love all forms of head equally.
So not all blowjobs are created equal in the receiver's eyes.
Exactly. While the book acknowledges, most men aren't going to turn down fellatio, it emphasizes there's a real art and skill to giving truly great head. And understanding male anatomy is the crucial first step, just like for her.
Makes total sense. And again, the book encourages moving beyond a singular focus, in this case, just the penis. What are some of the key male erogenous zones it highlights for oral stimulation?
Okay, first there's the glands, often called the acorn, the highly sensitive tip. The book talks about techniques like gentle flicking or massaging with the tongue.
But carefully, right?
Right. It cautions against too much friction or letting it get too dry, which can be uncomfortable. Then we have the corona, which the book calls the crown.
The ridge.
Yeah, the ridge where the glands meets the shaft, packed with nerve endings. The book suggests running your tongue along this area or using rapid, light flicks.
Okay, the crown. Got it.
The meatus, which is the actual opening at the very tip of the glands, is identified as a lesser-known but potentially pleasurable zone, applying a bit of added tongue pressure right there.
The little hole. Huh. Interesting.
Then the frenulum. That's that small, very sensitive ridge or band of tissue located on the underside of the penis just below the corona.
Ah, yes, that spot. Highly sensitive for many.
Extremely. The book recommends gently running your tongue along the tip and then flicking the frenulum, or using a light sucking motion that glides up to it.
Nice detail. What about uncircumcised men?
Right, for men who are uncircumcised, there's the foreskin. The book provides some brief historical and cultural context around circumcision, mentioning religious reasons like the Jewish Brit Milah or the Christian Feast of the Circumcision of Christ, and also secular reasons.
But it handles it neutrally?
Very neutrally. It debunks the idea that circumcision automatically harms sensitivity, while also noting some partners might prefer the texture or gliding sensation the foreskin provides. Crucially, it emphasizes that, generally, the techniques for fellatio remain largely the same, regardless of circumcision status.
Good to clarify. Okay, what other areas does the book highlight?
Moving down, we get to the scrotum, which the book playfully calls the treasure chest.
Ha!
It emphasizes its high level of sensitivity, often overlooked, and encourages a variety of approaches: gentle licking, sucking, massaging, light teasing with fingers or tongue.
So don't forget the balls.
Definitely not. And if direct oral contact isn't preferred there, the book suggests using warm, lubricated hands as a great alternative. Still give them attention.
Good tip.
The scrotal raphe, that's the seam that runs down the middle of the scrotum. The book suggests running a moistened tongue along it from the bottom of the balls all the way up to the base of the penis. A direct line.
Tracing the line. Nice.
Then the perineum, also known as the gooch or taint, the area between the scrotum and the anus.
The in-between zone.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The book highlights that this area is often neglected, but can be surprisingly hypersensitive for many men. Suggests massaging it with hands or tongue while you're also performing fellatio. Adds another layer.
Makes sense. It's packed with nerve endings, too.
And finally, the book introduces the anus, opening up the concept of incorporating backdoor play.
For men.
Yes. It talks about the potential connection to stimulating the prostate gland, which sits near the rectal wall, and how that can potentially lead to orgasm even without direct penile stimulation.
Prostate orgasms, right?
Right. The book suggests maybe using your non-dominant hand to gently massage the perineum and even carefully insert a well-lubricated finger into the anus while you're giving head.
Okay, that's definitely moving into more advanced or adventurous territory for some.
For sure. But the book includes it as part of the complete anatomical picture of male pleasure zones. That's a very thorough overview. Now let's talk grooming for men. What does the book say about manscaping?
Well, it acknowledges it's definitely an increasing trend. More guys are doing it. It suggests it can be a confidence booster, maybe a turn-on for partners.
So, similar message to female grooming personal choice.
Pretty much. It emphasizes considering your partner's preferences alongside your own, but it introduces what it calls the be the courteous gent principle.
Be courteous. How so?
Essentially, tidying up any excess hair, particularly around the base of the penis and balls, can simply make the experience more comfortable and pleasant for the partner performing oral sex. Less hair in the mouth.
Ah, okay. A practical consideration for your partner. Makes sense. What methods does it discuss?
It outlines the trimmer guy, just using electric trimmers to keep things neat, manage the length, simple, low risk.
The easy option.
Then the shaver guy section provides step-by-step instructions for getting a smoother shave down there, including important advice like don't dry shave,
Oh, sure.
use a quality shaving cream or even hair conditioner for glide, shave with the direction of hair growth first to avoid irritation, gently pat the area dry afterwards, don't rub, and finish with an unscented moisturizer.
Good detailed tips there for avoiding razor burn.
And finally, there's the waxer guy. Similar to for women, it mentions the benefits of going to a professional salon for waxing longer-lasting results, compared to shaving, often smoother.
If you can handle the waxing part.
Right. Now, for the techniques specifically designed to turn him on, the oral sex techniques to turn him on. Let's start with what to do with your mouth.
Okay, the action part.
First and foremost, the book reiterates the golden rule, basically. Think about what feels good to you and apply that principle, while also paying attention to his reactions.
Treat others.
Okay.
Then specifics.
The mouth guard describes using your lips over your teeth, like you're protecting him from your teeth. This creates a softer sensation, but allows for focused pressure from the lips and mouth cavity.
Ah, avoiding accidental nips. Smart.
Walk the line with your tongue. Suggests specifically following those sensitive pathways we talked about, the perineal raphe, gooch. the scrotal raphe, and the penile raphe, underside of the shaft with the tip of your tongue.
Tracing those themes again?
The zipper is described as a sensual, light nibble, very gentle, that starts at the base of the penile shaft and slowly works its way up to the tip, like unzipping him with your mouth.
Gentle nibble. Okay, requires control.
And math magic is a playful technique. It involves incorporating a specific sequence of counted head bobs, maybe like 3 short, 1 long, repeat. Adds a rhythmic, almost hypnotic element for some.
Huh. Math magic. That's a fun name. Those sound like interesting ways to add variety, just with the mouth. What about techniques that involve using your hands with your mouth?
Lots of those. There's the pseudo deep throat.
Pseudo deep throat. How does that work?
It involves using your hand, wrapped firmly around the base of the penis, to push more of the shaft into your mouth than you might comfortably take otherwise. It mimics the sensation of deep throating without actually, gagging. Your hand does the work of pushing it deeper.
Clever workaround.
Poppin' bottles describes a corkscrew-like motion with your hand twisting gently around the shaft while your mouth is also engaged.
Like opening a champagne bottle.
Kind of. Adds a twisting friction. Kung Fu grip suggests applying increasing pressure with your hand gripping the base of the shaft, especially as it gets closer to orgasm. Can intensify things.
Building pressure at the base.
Full body caress encourages combining hands-free oral sex. Maybe he's standing, or your position so your hands are free, with sensual touching all over his body. Chest, thighs, back. Make it a whole body experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
Don't just focus on one spot.
The double play involves simultaneously stroking the penis shaft with one hand, while also gently playing with or cupping his testicles with the other hand, alongside the oral.
Hand on shaft, hand on balls, plus mouth. Coordinated effort.
Exactly. The bouquet describes cupping the testicles and the base of the penis together in your hands, sort of lifting them slightly, which creates a different kind of pressure and sensation at the root.
Like holding a bouquet.
Oh,
Okay, I get the visual.
And the twin twisters involves using both hands, one above the other on the shaft, moving in a simultaneous, gentle twisting motion in opposite directions.
Wow, lots of hand choreography options.
Yeah.
The book also dedicates sections specifically to his testicles and his back door. What techniques are highlighted there?
Right. When it comes to his testicles, the book suggests wet and wild, which involves using saliva liberally on both the shaft and the testicles, really getting things slippery, and then alternating between gentle sucking on the balls and massaging them.
So incorporate the balls directly into the wetness.
Yeah. And tug-o-war describes gently cupping his testicles in your hand and applying a very light pulling sensation downwards on the scrotum. Gentle tugging.
Gentle being the key word there, I imagine.
Absolutely. For backdoor play, the prostate massage is detailed again, massaging the testicles and perineum first, and then gently inserting a well-lubricated finger into his anus, using that come-hither curling motion towards the front wall while you're also giving him head.
The combined stimulation again?
Yes. And analingus, or rimming, is discussed, with the very important prerequisite of both partners being freshly showered. Hygiene first.
Crucial.
The technique involves licking, kissing, and using your tongue around and just inside the anus. This can be done on its own or potentially combined with manual stimulation of his penis or testicles at the same time.
Okay. Again, for the adventurous and communicative couple. And what about kink for him? What kind of toys and techniques does the book suggest for adding excitement during fellatio?
There's deep throat spray, which is meant to numb the gag reflex slightly, but the book includes some important warnings about using it sparingly and carefully, as you don't want to numb things too much.
Yeah, gag reflex is there for a reason. Use with caution.
Exactly. Hot and cold play is suggested using things like ice cubes, maybe held in the mouth, alternating with sips of a warm liquid for contrasting temperature sensations on his skin.
Temperature play. Simple but effective.
Oral mints, like strong peppermint or cinnamon mints held in the mouth, either crushed or whole. They create a tingling sensation, and the mint itself can add a different kind of pressure point.
Tingling.
Interesting. Fizzing oral candy, like Pop Rocks, putting those in your mouth while giving head for a fizzy, crackling sensation.
Pop Rocks blowjobs. Okay, that's definitely novel.
And the vibrating cock ring is discussed. Explaining how it fits at the base of the penis, helps maintain the erection by constricting blood flow slightly, and the vibration benefits both partners, him directly and her, through the transmitted vibrations during intercourse or manual stimulation.
Right, those can be fun for both. Finally, positions. What are some of the out-of-this-world him positions the book recommends for fellatio?
There's the handstand, where he does a handstand against a wall. Although the book includes safety warnings, definitely not for everyone, requires strength and balance.
Yes, sounds precarious.
The Holy Grail is described as reverse fellatio, him lying down, you facing away from his head towards his feet. Offers a different angle, especially for focusing on the underside and balls.
Reverse fellatio, okay.
The Crossroads involves him lying on his back and you kneeling perpendicularly beside him, facing his hip. Again, just changes the angle of approach.
Yet for variety.
2 for 1 suggests alternating between oral sex and other forms of sexual activity intercourse, manual stimulation, keeping things dynamic. And ball bliss involves him sitting or leaning back on an exercise ball while you kneel. Uses the ball for leverage and access, especially to the perineum and balls. Exercise ball makes another appearance. Okay, so as we can see, the book offers a really wide range of techniques and considerations for men, too. Now, the final major section, Us, seems to focus on how oral sex fits into a couple's overall sex life.
Exactly. It kind of zooms out a bit. It kicks off with a masturbation crash course.
Our couples.
Well, it starts by emphasizing how important it is for individuals to understand their own bodies and how they experience pleasure through self-touch. Know thyself, basically.
Makes sense. Can't tell your partner what you like if you don't know yourself.
Right. It also gently debunks some common myths about masturbation being harmful, but raises an interesting point about the potential for accidentally conditioning yourself.
Conditioning yourself.
Yeah. By only ever masturbating in one very specific way, often with very intense, maybe forceful stimulation, what the book playfully terms the iron fist technique, especially for men.
Ah, the death grip.
Yeah, that idea. You might condition your body to only respond to that intense level, making it harder to enjoy more subtle or varied touch from a partner.
That's a really important point about partnered sex.
Definitely. So the book encourages what it calls grown-up partnered masturbation.
So masturbating together.
Yeah, or taking turns watching each other.
Yeah.
But the focus is on exploring more subtle touches, different types of strokes, maybe using less pressure, trying new things together as a way to potentially reprogram or broaden the body's responsiveness to different kinds of pleasure.
Learning together about each other's solo preferences, that's quite intimate. And it offers some masturbation inspiration, suggesting looking beyond typical porn, right?
Yeah, if you're looking for visual or written aids, it suggests exploring artsy porn, which it describes as often having higher production values, maybe more plot, a more sensual feel. It mentions X-art as an example.
More aesthetic, less purely mechanical.
Kind of. Rom-com with a twist refers to erotic videos that prioritize storyline and character development alongside the sex. And then there's Ready Reader, highlighting the whole world of erotic romance novels and online erotica.
Reading erotica instead of watching.
Exactly. It mentions platforms like literotica.com and collections like Ravenous Romance, and even provides brief excerpts from a couple of stories to illustrate the style, focusing on description, emotion, internal sensation.
Different strokes for different folks, finding what turns you on. The out-of-this-world U.S. positions section seems geared towards mutual pleasure involving oral sex.
What are some of those positions?
Right, positions where maybe both partners are giving or receiving orally or combining oral with other things. We have the reverse hookup, which uses an ottoman again, but for a different mutual angle. The lazy 69 is presented as a more relaxed, comfortable version of simultaneous oral sex, maybe side-lying.
Less acrobatic than the standard 69. Exactly. Massage envy suggests one partner giving the other a full-body massage that incorporates oral sex at various points. Very sensual.
Combining relaxation and arousal. Nice.
Downward dog is described as a gender-neutral position for back-end oral play, like rimming. But the book includes that important hygiene warning again. Don't reverse direction, like going from back to front, without cleaning up first.
Hygiene first, always.
And it suggests shower foreplay is a good lead-in for this position. Licking skyward combines back-end oral stimulation for one partner, while they provide frontal manual stimulation to the other.
Mutual attention, different forms.
The upside-down 69, another variation, maybe requires more flexibility, emphasizes clear communication and using hands to enhance pleasure, since mouth placement might be tricky. Misuse of furniture humorously suggests using chairs, tables, etc. for leverage, but check stability first.
Don't break the coffee table.
Right. The classic soixante neuf is covered, with tips for finding comfortable variations like who's on top, using pillows. The acrobatic strongman position is mentioned again, requires strength, comes with safety warnings. And 34 1/2, a playful name for a position allowing both oral and manual stimulation for both partners simultaneously.
Lots of ways to tip mutual. The book also includes a fun section on oral surprises.
Yeah.
What kind of novelty does it suggest adding?
Yeah, just little things to shake it up. Ideas like Sex My Dick Baby, which is all about building anticipation through suggestive texts or photos beforehand.
Foreplay starts way before the bedroom.
Exactly. Let me pencil you in. Surprising your partner by actually scheduling a dedicated oral sex session in their calendar. Makes it feel special, anticipated.
Like a very important meeting.
Yeah, gifts. Playfully suggests giving sex toy gift cards or specific toys geared towards oral play as a fun way to encourage exploration together.
Oh.
And lingual lunch break, a cheeky suggestion for a quickie oral interlude during the day, if logistics allow. Spontaneity.
Keeping it fresh. Finally, the book delves into nutrition for his and her sexual health. What are the key takeaways there? Is it all pineapple?
Pineapple gets a mention, but the main message is broader. It emphasizes that while there's no single magic food for amazing sex, a generally healthy, balanced diet is crucial.
The foundation is overall health.
Right. A major theme is that cardiovascular health is sexual health. Good blood flow is essential for arousal and function in both men and women, so heart-healthy foods matter.
Makes sense. Blood flow is key.
It specifically mentions what's in your nuts and fish, pointing to the benefits of arginine, an amino acid found in nuts, seeds, meat, and omega-3 fatty acids from fish, flax seeds, for blood flow and maybe hormone production.
Good fats and amino acids.
And then there's a section on the flavors of fucking, which addresses the taste question directly.
Okay, the pineapple question.
Right. It discusses how certain foods might affect the taste of bodily fluids. Positively, it mentions things like cranberry juice and yogurt, possibly helping maintain healthy vaginal pH and flora, and fruits and vegetables potentially leading to sweeter tasting semen for some.
And negatively.
Things often cited are strong flavors like garlic, asparagus, onions, maybe broccoli. Also, things generally considered unhealthy: excessive alcohol, cigarettes, vitamin deficiencies, lots of fast food. Saturated and trans fats are linked to less pleasant taste or smells. But it stresses balance and hydration overall.
So diet can play a role, but it's not guaranteed magic. It sounds like the book provides a truly holistic view, way beyond just techniques.
Absolutely. It covers so much ground. It even includes a list of resources at the end, further reading, websites for those who want to delve deeper. And it mentions the author's other books, like 50 Shades of Ecstasy, for anyone wanting more from Marisa Bennett.
A comprehensive guide indeed.
So, listener, as we wrap up this deep dive into 50 Shades of Oral Pleasure, you hopefully now have, well, a vast array of information, techniques, ideas, considerations, things to explore and personalize in your own intimate life.
Maybe take some time to reflect on what resonated most, what sounded intriguing or maybe even a little challenging.
Yeah, and perhaps consider trying just one new thing, one technique, one position, maybe even just initiating a conversation about preferences based on what we discussed.
Which leads us to a final thought for you to consider. How much can that foundation of open, honest communication, coupled with a genuine willingness to experiment and explore together, how much can that continuously enrich the intimacy and pleasure within your sexual relationships?
Yeah, extending far beyond any specific techniques we talked about today.
It's really that ongoing dialogue and shared curiosity, isn't it? That's what can truly deepen connection and keep things exciting in the long run.